What's going on? It's your boy Boda back in the building for another LC video. We're finally getting to test out the boy Edward. We got him right here. If you saw my summons from earlier, we did have a pretty rough start this morning, but on the bright side, I was finally able to get Ed to level 100. I've got him pretty beefed up, right as much as he can be before we actually go and 5-star him, which I'm still contemplating on doing, just because I don't know if I need this kind of character as an end game player at the point where I'm at. So as I was saying in my video from earlier this morning, those 5-star materials are valuable for your boy. I want to save them so that when a character does come around that I actually am going to use on the regular, I can just dump those mats into them so that they're ready to go as early as possible. With Edward Elric, he's kind of a luxury unit for me at the moment, although I do want to highlight and I do want to emphasize how crazy this character is for new players that are starting out, which we are getting an influx of you guys with this collab. So if you pulled Edward, let's say you got Edward, or you got Roy, or you got one or the other, or both, you just got two of the most friendly units to your account that is possible at your stage in the game. At least for having a unit that fulfills the DPS role, which ultimately is going to carry you through the more difficult stages as you progress in this game. So crazy cool looking design. We're going to take him through multiple tests and see exactly what this guy brings to the table. So to start these new character showcases off in my progressing format that I'm trying to undergo, we're going to take Ed in bare bones, pretty much as free to play friendly as I can show him. Once you've maxed out his board, once you've gotten him leveled up, once you've awakened him as I have here, which is extremely easy to do right now with the event. If you're taking advantage of the collab event ticket stage to grind up his unit souls, you will be able to get his awakening done and his SC pool reserve. But before you even do that, what does Ed look like? Let's say you have no arcs leveled up, you barely have any skills to teach him, but you manage to get his board maxed out, which is quite, I'd say frankly, the most important thing in unit progression is maxing out that ability board. Well, we can see here, this is what you're going to get. He gets this magic skill actually, which is great for team survival. We're going to showcase off Ed as an individual unit, so we're not too worried about that, but in multiplayer this is actually a really wonderful magic ability. He does come with attack up max, fighting spirit 3, crit up 2, which are nice just stat boosts. Advanced ain't vitals, that's going to help on his crits. He comes with proud force, so that's innate HP sustainability, awesome. He has royal armor, auto brave, which is great because that's just a plus 25. It's either plus 20 or plus 25% strength boost, an infinite amount of time, so that's great. Auto protection, fury, earth high drive is a great multiplier for his attacks, coupled with earth attack raise 2, and he's also got earth critical raise. So his earth damage multipliers are looking great, just bare bones with nothing. He's got pose of honor, so if you're killing enemies, he will be able to regenerate that MP. He does come with sky high 2, which is great because I think his S2 and his S3 also pick up the enemies into the air, enough of the threshold to activate that. Double impact for his regular attacks. Machine mega boost is great. You equip a machine to him and he gets that plus 2000 cap, and just an extra 20% physical damage, and that minus 10% to defense per hit, but I don't really pay attention to that effect. Comes with quick trigger, so you're going to start each match off with at least one skill stock in either your S1, 2, or 3. Indomitable Spirit, when taking lethal damage. When lethal damage is taken, recover 50% HP, and when surviving lethal damage, gain a skill damage plus 30% buff. That is a great ability to have, so comes with some sustainability there, coupled with proud force, you know, great to see. Giant killing he comes with, plus 20% extra to bosses. Ed does very well against bosses, as we will continue to see in his unique skills. Rapid recovery is just nice to have. Then he gets into the unique skills Alchemy. When a skill stock is 0, you can use MP to use said skills. State Alchemist decreases that MP cost by 20%. He also comes with You're Outclassed, which is damage plus 20% and another 2000 cap to boss monsters. So like I said, Ed looks great against bosses. One is all, one is me. While all allies are alive, gradually boost strength, max to 30%. And then it resets each wave or when an ally is incapacitated. We won't be able to take advantage of that in this particular showcase because we're not going to run him in a team, but he does come with that, so great. Winry's Maintenance, when HP hits 0, auto revive and recover HP 100% and MP 20%. So another skill that helps him sustain just by himself without the need of support. So great to see. And then the Portal of Truth, continuous haste and advanced magic circles, which is a wonderful, wonderful ability. Let's see the equips I have on him. We do have the event equipment that you can currently grind up and enhance to plus 40 very easily. Take advantage of it because this machine equipment is going to help you a ton. Hawkeye's gun, first off, just comes with 124 to strength, 35 to defense at plus 40, keep in mind. Chance for regular attacks to insta-kill, so it gives whichever unit this equipment is with a Death God effect, which is the chance to insta-kill mobs that aren't bosses, that aren't arena units, which is going to help you tremendously. It's also going to activate all of Ed's machine passives, like Machine Mega Boost that we saw. Right, Ed doesn't come naturally with dual wield, so we are forced to single wield here, but I am using the other event robe that you can get that I have talked crap on, but if you can't dual wield at the moment, this is going to be fine for the stat sticks that you can see and chance to evade regular attacks. It is what it is, but it'll do 100 defense and 70 to mind. I'm not complaining. And then of course we have two of the accessories that you're going to get very, very, very early on in your game progression. Driftstone I love because it's just like another sky high damage boost. Damage 15% damage extra, which is going to stack on top of that sky high too. Incredible. And then Royal Bracelet, just because I think it's like the first one that you get that gives you some strength stat, which is what we're going to want to give Ed because that's what his physical attack scales off of. We'll go ahead and look at his traits, which I don't normally do, but he has Full Metal Alchemist for some extra damage percentage, 30%, and then special damage cap plus 4,000. When using a skill with Alchemy, damage plus 16% and damage cap plus 1600. And if you're looking at that, you're thinking, I thought it was a little more. That's going to be at his 5-star potential. So don't forget, before you 5-star these units, in these new showcases that Idis does, they are going to show the max potential, which with these new units is going to be a 5-star, 120 out of 120 board. But before you can get there, you got to get them to 4-star. Which is going to have, you know, less on the traits and less skills in that ability board and stats and everything else you get. So keep that in mind. And then Auto Mail, machine equipped, critical rate plus 5%, physical attack damage plus 4,000, increased movement speed, chance to nullify damage taken. Just a great ability that you need to equip a machine to Ed to activate. So with all that in mind, we'll see his abilities in the fight. And then here are his stats at this current milestone, level 100, with the awakening stats as well. He is awakened 6, so that's helping those stats bumped up quite a bit. But again, no other passives on him at all. So we're going to take him in to the Finteria boss wave stage and see what this guy looks like with nothing really on him. So here we go. I'm going to immediately go ahead and do this. So not crazy damage, at least as far as I'm aware. I didn't check it, look at these guys' resistances. It doesn't look like any of them resist earth, so we don't have to worry too much about that, which is good, right? Because we're not using Trishula, we're not using any AERs from SSRs, anything like that. But I do think he's going to deal a bit more damage to Galbor since he's the boss enemy in this stage. So let's go ahead and try his You've Gone Too Far again over on you. So yeah, we're getting some crit caps, which is always good to see, especially on this stage, right? These units aren't crazy strong. They just have some high HP pools and very mediocre defenses. So not a difficult stage, but something to showcase, you know, what the character can do. Let's go ahead and start launching some of his skills since we're charging him up. You know, not too bad, not too bad. I'm seeing some 15,000 damage caps. Those damage caps are going to fluctuate because, remember, Ed gets damage cap when you're using skills that have alchemy, which means that the skills have no skill stock in them. So they will fluctuate, as we said, but let's go ahead and just start burning through these skill stocks. 17,999 skill stock is what we're seeing. We've got his S1, which is a really nice fast ability that just travels across the screen from wherever he's at. I missed his S2 because I popped it too fast. So that's interesting to note. If you notice, his MP is regenning. Since we're not really taking advantage of Pose of Honor, because we're not fighting multiple enemies, we're not killing multiple enemies in a multi-wave stage, there would typically be no form of MP regeneration for Edward with no help, except for the fact of the arc that I'm running, and I totally forgot to point it out, which kind of feels bad. Let's go ahead and start trying to kill these guys down again. So not crazy, right? Ed's not dealing crazy damage to these guys with not a lot of help. His crits are looking okay, but right, this is his 4-star potential, as bare bones as it gets. But again, he's got a ton of sustain. You can see that we're not really worried for health or anything like that. We're able to get a couple extra skill stock procs because of his alchemy skill. However, what the point I kind of got away from, and I want to get back to, is how are we getting like 7 or 8 MP periodically right now? The arc that I'm running is actually an SSR arc that pretty much gives the unit auto advanced magic circles, which is gradual MP regen based on a percentage of the MP pool over time. So I found this arc, and since it's an SR, everyone's going to have access to it. And I figure, you know, it's actually going to look pretty nice on Ed, since without any help, he is craving some form of MP regeneration with this alchemy mechanic. And I can't say I'm mad at it, because it is allowing us to get our MP up gradually, which gives us extra alchemy skill procs if we want it. I've been running around because I've been talking, and I'm bad at multitasking, but I want to see what his special looks like. So if we can target Galbor to get an actual idea of what this is going to look like. Again, neutral resistance, so we're not worried about anything like that. Don't you call me little. He's sitting at about 470,000 HP right now. Let's go ahead and activate it and see what it looks like. I'm actually not mad at that special damage at all. About 220k. Actually, this is not great. It's really not great. His special is nothing to like brag about. It's a one enemy target mediocre ability at best. But let's see if we can finish this off. Oh, we ran out of MP. MP for alchemy is quite expensive. Once you can get Ed the help in terms of the MP reserve, then we can start doing some real crazy things with him. But I must say, you know, for having absolutely nothing on this guy, I would say he is pretty impressive. Of course, any unit, it's difficult to follow up after Luxeus. We saw what he looked like, bare bones, at 5-star potential on this stage. So you got to remember, Luxeus is really the top of the power curve. As Barleen said, right, we've been growing in characters released and their potential like this, and then we hit Luxeus, and Barleen said it's going to go more horizontal. So the units coming out now, they're not all going to compete with Luxeus DPS level and just what he's capable of. But what Barleen did say is these new characters are going to be gimmicky. They're going to have features to them that we haven't seen before. I think the example that we're seeing during this collab is the alchemy mechanic. The fact that these units can spam their skills using MP rather than having to rely on skill stock regeneration and strategies revolving that. Now it's like, how can we get these guys MP so that we can take advantage of their extra damage boost that they get, and just be able to spam skill stocks without needing skill stocks. Just wanted to highlight the art since I forgot to show it before we took on that stage. Holy Flag of Norlian, right? It offers the attribute Party's Curse Resistance +1, which is just okay to have, and then automatically recovers MP, which is what I was looking for specifically. Magic damage taken from non-humans -15%. So the first and last part of that attribute are just whatever, but it's really that MP recovery. It's not quick, as you saw. I think Ed is going to look a lot better in multi-wave stages as you progress through the game, and especially early game once you get his Pose of Honor skill unlocked, because while you're killing enemies you're regaining some MP. But for those situations where you don't have enemies to kill to proc that, I think this arc is actually going to do you pretty well, just to help him get MP back if you're lacking the skills from SSR arts, UR arts, things like that we're going to take a look at now with a more end game version of what Ed looks like. Oh, and now we're going to see what an end game general DPS build looks like on Ed, the Buddha version of a build, I should say. And nothing too crazy that I haven't done in the past. We'll start with the skills that I have given him. Basically just a bunch of different damage multipliers, but also literally all of the MP ups that you have accessible. You want to give these alchemy units, Ed, Al, Roy, all of your MP ups. It's like a standard. Before you add any other skills to them, just give them all of the MP that's possible. I am running this build at 86 SC because it is extremely easy to get 3 extra prisms for Edward. You can see that I have him potential of 90. It's because I picked up 2 extra prisms in the trade shop from my paid pulls, because if you know me, you should know I will never touch paid equipment until they announce that there's a free-to-play method to get them. With that being said, we'll continue with this build. I do have HP +2 on him just to give him some extra HP, because I had the 4 SC laying around after I was done putting this build together. We can see everything he already comes with. I did give him auto critical, Earth Attack Raise, because again, that's kind of a luxury damage multiplier, but Ed comes with so much that you don't need to worry too hard about it. So Earth Attack Raise sounded good to me, an extra 20% damage. Goddess Kiss is going to be one of the, if not the most important MP regeneration skill for these units. On their regular attacks, the ability to absorb a percentage of damage into your MP is huge when you need to build that MP stock back up. I did give him Sky High just to add some extra damage percentage there. Dual wield, of course. I'm planning on making a dual wield video. I'll probably ask the the Buddha gang and the boys to help me out with all of the reasons that dual wield is the king of physical DPS, just so that all the facts can be in one video. If anyone ever asks why is everyone talking about dual wield, especially with a lot of new players, you don't know the power until it's really explained to you. So just know that if you got dual wield, which you'll want to get on Sandworm, you're going to want to put it on 99% of your physical DPS all the time. Sword boost and sword high boost is a beautiful combo for 13 SC, 40% extra damage there. I gave him machine high boost because again, I had the SC laying around. Ed comes with so much as a physical damager that you have the luxury to just stack damage multipliers on top of him. And then I think after that, it's just all of his uniques exactly. So we're gonna take him into the same stage, but not before I show you the equipment. We're not running Trishula because we did see that these enemies have no resistance to earth, so I don't need to bring Trishula. Instead, I'm bringing Bluff of a Gun, which is a collab specific item from the Dr. Stone rerun. don't get too mad at me there. I'm bringing it just because it has 50 MP. This is not a best in slot weapon that you'd be running. Honestly, Trishula would probably be more effective just because it gives me an extra 200 on the strength. But I like the fact that this gives me 50 MP, and if I don't have to use Trishula, you know, why not? But what I do want to point out is that another great move for Ed, because his skills are at a bit of a range, they're medium range. The Tech Blade actually is a great skill if you want to run him with Maglion and Tech Blade. The extra physical damage, depending on the distance from you and the enemy, can absolutely boost his damage up if, you know, that's something that you have and you're lacking something else here. So just wanted to point that out. I could be running that along with Maglion if I wanted to, but I think this is good. And then, of course, I have all of my damage cap add-ons after the machine up top. Altogether, those equipment are giving us plus 3,000 to the damage cap. So we'll take that. And then, of course, Icy Guardian, which I freaking stroke off every time I talk about one of these builds. On every crit, Ed is going to deal an extra damage amount. I believe it's 40% of the critical damage amount. It does have the ice element attached to it, so you got to take in consideration ice resistances, but just know that to get extra damage on top of your damage caps, Icy Guardian is one of, if not the top tier general DPS arc that you can throw on any of your characters. So there we go. That's what we're running. We're going to see if we can do what I want, because I haven't tested this actually. The date has changed. And like I was saying, the goal here is to load in and then do what Edward does best and spam that S3 until everything on the screen is dead. I mean, he's literally an artillery character. We'll go ahead and target this guy in the back, I'd say. Actually, no, we'll go ahead and target Galbor because they should clump around him. Now with his S3, he does, I think Crip mentioned he has a cone line of sight. So the closer you are to the enemy, the more exactly in line he's going to have to get with them. But if you start with a little bit of distance, he should target the enemy even if you're not directly in line on like a Y axis with him or an X axis with him. But this is perfect because we're going to start with 0 skill stock in his S3, which is just fine with me, because as you'll see, we've got 547 MP to work with. Let's see what launching these does. So you've gone too far. We are getting in line with him, and boom, here we go. As you can see, Ed is putting in some very nice work against these enemies. We didn't quite finish off the last soldier, but that's pretty damn fun. Ed's artillery spam is very satisfying. For a new player, let's say you don't have all the tools to equip Luxeus with, right? We did see what Luxeus can do to this stage when he's fully built out end game. But again, this is a 4-star Ed. This isn't even him at max potential. He's still got a little bit of damage cap that we'd have to get at 5-star. Some extra stat boosts he'd probably be dealing. I wasn't even paying attention to like if he was capping on every hit. We were not even running Soldier Slayers. Keep that in mind. This was a very general DPS build. In fact, why don't we take this build into a multi-wave stage and just see how that artillery fares there. Alright, so we're going to do some live testing here. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but it's something I wanted to try. And I can't quite try it to the extent that I'd like, but we can, I think, get the gist and see if it's effective. I've seen a couple other people do it as well. But we're taking on Encroaching Dead, which is a multi-wave stage. A lot of enemies, a lot of pretty tough mobs because you're approaching that end game story grind. But in regards to the changes to Ed and the live testing I want to do, you can see that the arc that I have on him is changed because I think a combo of this arc and the arc ether reward from it, which we can't look at right now, but it is a bow that gives him plus 10% extra critical for earth attacks. Now that couples with this exact arc nicely because the attribute reads when a bow is equipped, you get then another plus 10% crit, which would be giving him a total of 20% crit. Damage against weaknesses is plus 25%. I'm not certain that we're going up against any enemies that are weak to earth in this stage, but that would be nice. 25% extra damage. That's like weak point boost on this arc. But then it's that last ability, grants extra attacks for each critical. Now, I don't know the damage multiplier. You know what? We can find that out. So it does deal an extra attack that is neutral, so we don't have to worry about the same thing as Icy Guardian, where the extra attack has an element attached to it. In this case, the extra attack is a 22 to 25% extra damage on top of your crit, but it's neutral typing, so that's going to be a consistent damage extra attack no matter what resistances that the enemy has. So it's quite appealing. And again, like I said, the fact that this arc with its AER is going to give Ed that plus 20% extra to his crit. I just want to see crits flying all over the screen, which is going to give that 20 to 25% extra damage every single time he crits. I think it'll be a nice combo. We're going to test it out. We're going to be running Famed Bow Kinarigo, I hope I said that right, just to proc that effect of the arc. But again, we're missing 10% crit. We're not getting quite as nice stat boost as we would. But it does also give an extra 3% crit naturally, and it's really the best bow I have, which is sad. There's a really good one in the Godforge Alchemy, but I'd have to put in the work to get that. We're running Trishula just because I'm not sure if we're going to run into enemies that are resistant to Earth. And then the other changes that I made were taking off sword boosts, which is going to maybe impact him quite a bit since that's altogether 40% extra damage. But instead of that, I did give him Maglion, if I can find it. I think I went past it. So hopefully we'll make up for some of that damage percentage lost with the distance that we can hopefully maintain from the enemies. Everything else I believe is the same. I don't think I changed anything. Yep, it was just those changes. And we're going to see what it looks like, right? Just to mix it up and see multiple variants of an end game version that you can build Edward with. So let's go ahead and see what this man looks like. We should see a lot better MP regeneration because there will be multiple enemies for us to take out. We're just going to start by spamming our S3. We started with an actual skill of it, but I mean, that looks pretty dang good to me. That looks pretty dang good to me. We know those rock enemies are very resistant. They have high defenses. So the fact that we're getting our caps on crit is quite impressive. Again, we're not running Slayers, so keep that in mind. We're going to keep on spamming his S3, and it is just nuking the board. This is a nice showing of what Edward's potential is. This is why I say he's going to be so good for new players, because as you do these, I actually want to start normal attacking so I can get some MP regen back, which we're getting very nicely with Goddess Kiss, remember? I'm fine with this guy taking hits so that we can get all that MP regen back, because we want all of our MP for the final wave of this stage. But as going back to what I was saying, for new players, you're going to be taking on multi-wave stage after multi-wave stage, and Ed's ability to just artillery nuke everything is going to look very nice. Let's launch a couple of his skill stocks so we're not using MP. And hopefully with some of these kills, yeah, we'll get some nice MP regen back. I'm comfortable with that. I think we have, is there one more stage before the last one? I wasn't paying attention. No, this is the final wave. So again, these enemies right here are extremely annoying. We're going to start spamming like we do, and I'm not mad at that damage at all. We need to actually target these guys that are a little closer to Ed. But yeah, here we go. We're running into a problem here. I don't know if he's going to be able to survive. Remember, Ed has a ton of survivability actually in his kit. I don't know if we're going to be able to handle it, if we can get skills off. His skills do persist. And what do I mean by that? Even if the enemy manages to flinch us after the fact, his skill is going to go to completion for his S2, his S1, and his S3, which is really useful to have. We're able to get another S3 right there, which does the job and finishes that off. So that looked great. That was a great showing of just how, you know, Ed can look at an end game level against those mobs solo, right? This stage can be particularly annoying with those last mobs being unflinchable, very defensive heavy, and without a God Slayer, which is the typing they are, I think Ed did a great job. So there you go. There is Ed in a general DPS stance. He's going to look great for you in story progression, and especially as a new player. The fact that you don't have to worry about so many things, if you can just, get your damage multipliers on top of him, he's going to take care of the rest. But now let's go ahead. I'm going to build him out for a world boss. If you want to see him take on Pablo, go check out Tweak's video. He showed what Ed is capable of doing to Pablo. Not quite as crazy as Roy, I'm not going to cap, but still a very impressive showing. I'm going to try and find a different world boss to take Ed into and see what he can do. Okay, here we are to showcase what a 4-star Ed looks like against one of the world bosses. We're taking on Zleorg the Devourer for a couple of reasons. One, because I hear a lot of new players struggling against this one since it is very time intensive. It's quite an annoying fight with all of the gimmicks and the different status ailments that Zleorg can put on you. So the idea in this fight is that you need substantial DPS coupled with substantial support. That substantial support is pretty much known as Tyria, Spirit Main Tyria. If you don't have her, big help is to just bring a pretty good friend support unit, which you can find plenty of people on the Discord, Reddit, in the community to lend you their Spirit Maiden Tyria. But the real question here is, Ed sustainable as your DPS to take down this boss before the time limit actually expires? I'm confident that he is. The other reason we're running this stage is because I actually did take Ed in to beat Lambda, which isn't really considered one of the hardest world bosses anymore, but still a challenge if you don't know how to handle him. And what I found was that I forgot Lambda drains MP when he attacks, so it was literally the worst matchup for Ed to showcase. The thing is, Ed actually did really well, and I was excited to include that fight just to show that even in a very, very non-optimized environment, Ed can still look great. But I forgot to hit record, so we don't have that footage. We're gonna take him into Zleorg the Devourer, a little more of a bit more recent of an end game world boss. I still haven't done everything I need to do to take on the newest world bosses yet, so bear with me, but this should be a pretty good showing. Between Ed and Tyria, we're going to see if we can take down the boy Zleorg. Ignore the arc that was just on Ed. You can see we're running Phoenix below. In order to get a nice little plus 100% break is nice and stuff, but it's really the skill damage plus 25%. It's going to work very well just as a general arc to run on any of your DPS units. And then the only changes we have here, I took away Earth Attack Raise 2 and Machine High Boost in order to equip Spirit Slayer Special Boost, since those are since that is the enemy type that we're going to be facing, and then also give him back Sword Boost and Sword High Boost. And then I had a little extra SC to equip Machine Boost, just the regular version right there. As far as equipment, all I did was take out Scarlet Blade and put on Pure Blade Muramasa. Scarlet Blade I would typically leave on just because it gives me that extra damage cap, but since we're flexing a little bit of endgame builds, I wanted to use my Muramasa, which is very sadly at plus 14 and not plus 40, so your boy Buddha needs to just step it up. But we should still have a pretty good time. And then again, Tyria is there. Let me give her all of the magic walls now that we're actually here. Stone Wall, Thunder Wall, Holy Wall, Shadow Wall, sounds good to me. Healing Wind should be a sufficient skill and not time stop, so we don't have to worry about all that nonsense. Erase, I wonder, yeah, I'll bring Erase just in case homeboy gets, funny with it. And then with Grand Protection, Magic Castle 2, we should be looking pretty nice. And we're going to see how we fare if Ed is substantial DPS in a long, drawn-out fight against one of these world bosses. So we're just going to try and stay on Zleorg and spam his S3 until we need to charge up our MP. Then we'll go ahead and regular attack him to proc Goddess Kiss, rinse and repeat. And that's going to be the strategy here. Actually, we're going to wait until he can actually take damage, which I think is right now. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Not a damage cap lost in sight. That is beautiful. Now we get his annoying gimmick of the spirits that he summons, but we're going to refocus on homeboy here, start getting our MP back, and just see how long this actually takes. So I probably could have done some things to make Ed's normal attack a bit stronger right now. He's a little bit despicable in the amount of MP he's getting back with those normal attacks because he's just not hitting a lot. But there we go. We've got about almost 300, which is nice. I'll go ahead and start another S3 spam. Actually, Homeboy had a wall up that entire time, so that's really inconvenient. Retarget on Zleorg. And go ahead and launch some S3s again. I mean, it does shred Zleorg's health in a very satisfying way, a very satisfying amount. I think he is dealing earth damage to us, so we'll go ahead and proc Flame Wall. We definitely need to get some MP back, so we'll go ahead and try and prioritize that. Trying to get some MP back, but man, I did not optimize this dude to do that. Okay, so Cure All definitely helps get Edward out of that lock, which is fantastic. Not bad at all. Even without spamming alchemy skills, Ed's doing just a fine job in the damage department. Alright, now he's going to heal back up to half health, which is going to be quite annoying. But, if I'm not mistaken, his health bar is ready to be drained at this point. So here we go. Let's go ahead and take care of business. Alright, we're getting real close here. Let's see if we can get just a couple more stocks. Oh, I just wasted my stock. Oh well, I think we're going to be able to do it. We've got good health on everybody. I mean, we're just struggling for that MP, man. That MP is brutal, bro. Oh my goodness. Goddess Kiss is letting me down, bro. Goddess Kiss is just letting me down hardcore. He's got like no health left. That should end it right there. There we go. And that's it. Yeah, once you kill Zleorg, you don't got to worry about the spirits. But we ended up with 15 minutes left on the timer. I think we start with 25 minutes. So we were able to take him out pretty much with solo DPS Edward in 10 or 9, as you can see right there. Probably a much better showing that we could have done if I made his normal attacks hit harder. I don't know what I would have needed to do. Maybe increased his critical so that when the normal attacks crit, if we were able to get a Goddess Kiss on those, it would have helped out. But regardless, even if we didn't get done as fast as possible with Ed, that just goes to show that Ed is extremely capable as a DPS. And look at that, we didn't even have to worry about having Glass Record or any kind of SCT recharge at our disposal because of that alchemy skill. Those are really the things I wanted to highlight. Just Ed's nuking ability with his S3, the fact that it's extremely spammable with that MP usage. He's just a fantastic character overall. And again, this is 4-star. This is not even his max potential. Am I going to take him up to 5-star? I don't know yet. For now, I'm going to close out this video just because I think it does a good job at showing what 4-star Ed looks like in PvE territory. There are a couple other situations I might take him in, maybe multiplayer, show what he looks like there, because I think he's going to be great for people as a multiplayer unit, and what he looks like in arena. But I may save those videos for his 5th-star potential, just because that's the end goal, right, to see him at that level. But nonetheless, this video took me forever to record. So many technical issues, but we made it to the end. I'll have to sit down, start editing this, and see what I want to do after the fact. My final thoughts on Ed is that he is absolutely a top tier character. Just one of your prime DPS potential characters, especially if you don't have all of the tools that you need to make a character like Luxeus look as busted as he can be. This guy's going to be fantastic for those early to mid game players. So I hope you got a good idea of what Ed looks like in the scope of his progression, where he starts out versus where you can get him, and we've yet to see his absolute max potential, at least on my account. So I'll be working towards that, see if I want to take him to that step and show you guys what he looks like. And in the meantime, we can just hope and pray that tickets give us Roy, or I'll take the part 1 arc. If we can get one of those two things, I think I'll be happy. So that's where I'm going to leave this video off. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and to hit that bell notification to be notified anytime I post more LC content. And with all that being said, guys, y'all know what we say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.